They call me Jezebel. The name itself has become a curse, a whisper of wickedness, a synonym for a conniving, godless woman. For centuries, your prophets and scribes have painted me in shades of scarlet and black, the foreign queen who led a righteous king astray, the painted idolater who met a brutal, prophesied end. But have you ever stopped to wonder about my side of the story? Have you ever considered the world as I saw it, through the eyes of a princess from Tyre, thrust into the heart of a kingdom so different from my own? Let me take you back. Let me tell you who I truly was, beyond the myths and the condemnation. My story did not begin in Israel, but in the magnificent port city of Tyre, the jewel of Phoenicia. My father was Ethbal, king and high priest of our people. We were a seafaring nation, merchants of the world, our ships laden with cedar, purple dye, and precious metals. Our gods were Baal, the lord of the storm and fertility, and Asherah, the great mother goddess. They weren't demons, as your prophets claimed. They were the very fabric of our culture, the guardians of our prosperity, the divine patrons of our civilization. I was raised in a world of opulence, yes, but also of power, diplomacy, and religious devotion that was as natural to me as breathing. From my earliest days, I was taught that a queen's duty was to her people and to her gods. Power was not something to be shied away from. It was a tool, a responsibility to be wielded for the strength and glory of the kingdom. I saw my father rule with a firm hand, blending politics and faith seamlessly. To us, there was no separation. The king was the link to the divine, and the prosperity of the land depended on his piety and the favor of the gods. When the proposal came for me to marry Ahab, the new king of Israel, it was seen as a brilliant political maneuver. An alliance between Phoenicia and Israel would create a powerful bloc against the looming threat of the Assyrian Empire. It would secure trade routes and bring stability to the region. I was not just a bride. I was an emissary, a diplomat, a symbol of this powerful union. I knew my duty. I would be a good wife and a strong queen for my new home, but I was not prepared for the kingdom I found. When I arrived in Samaria, the capital of Israel, I was met with a stark and unforgiving landscape compared to the lush coast of my homeland. But it was not the land that was the most alien to me. It was the people's God, Yahweh, this invisible solitary deity whose followers preached a rigid, exclusive, and, to my mind, joyless faith. His laws seemed to be about restrictions, about what you could not do, who you could not be. Where were the grand temples filled with life and music? Where were the festivals celebrating the cycles of nature, the harvest, the rain? Their faith felt barren, their God a demanding, jealous spirit who tolerated no others. I was expected to abandon Baal and Asherah, the gods of my ancestors, the very essence of my identity. This I could not do. I was a Phoenician princess. I would not erase my heritage. Ahab, my husband, was not the weak-willed fool your histories make him out to be. He was a pragmatist, a skilled military leader who understood the importance of our alliance. He loved me, and he respected my faith. He saw the political wisdom in accommodating my beliefs. He built a temple to Baal for me in Samaria. Was this so monstrous? In my world, it was common for kings to honor the gods of their foreign queens. It was a sign of respect, of cultural exchange. But in Israel, it was seen as an abomination. The prophets, led by that wild man from the wilderness, Elijah, saw it as a declaration of war. They began to preach against me, calling me the foreign contagion, the source of all Israel's supposed ills. They were zealots, fanatics who could not tolerate a world larger than their own narrow view. They saw my confidence as arrogance, my devotion to my gods as wickedness, and my political influence on my husband as manipulation. I hated their gods' laws because they undermined my ambitions, not for personal greed, but for the greatness of Israel. I saw a future where Israel, allied with Phoenicia, could be a true regional power, a center of trade and culture. But their prophets, with their constant talk of doom and divine punishment, were a force of chaos and division. They preached austerity while I championed progress. They demanded exclusivity while I believed in a pluralistic court that reflected our powerful new alliance. The conflict was inevitable. Elijah, that hairy man in his leather belt, became my nemesis. He was a master of public spectacle. The showdown on Mount Carmel, your scribes recorded as a divine miracle. From my perspective, it was a political coup, a piece of grand theater designed to humiliate me and my faith. Elijah challenged my 450 prophets of Baal to a contest, a trial by fire. He taunted them, mocked our rituals, and then, through some trick of nature or clever preparation, he called down fire upon his own waterlogged altar. The crowd, easily swayed by spectacle, turned on my prophets, and Elijah, this supposed man of a merciful God, he had them all seized and slaughtered by the Kishon River. 450 men murdered in a fit of religious frenzy, and they call me the bloody one? That day, something inside me hardened. I saw the true face of their faith, not just devotion, but a brutal, violent intolerance. I swore that Elijah would pay for what he had done. Yes, I threatened his life. What queen, what ruler, would allow a man who had just publicly executed her priests to walk free? It was not just personal vengeance. It was a matter of state security, of royal authority. He had openly defied the crown and massacred citizens of the kingdom. But he fled, a fugitive, and his legend as the persecuted prophet only grew. He became a symbol of resistance against me, the foreign queen. The story of Naboth's vineyard is another they used to condemn me. Ahab coveted a vineyard next to the palace. The owner, Naboth, refused to sell, citing ancestral law. Ahab, ever the brooder, was sullen. I saw his frustration, and I saw a solution. To me, the king's will was paramount for the good of the state. If a simple citizen could defy the king over a plot of land, what did that say about the king's authority? I acted as any Phoenician ruler would. I saw a challenge to the throne's power, and I eliminated it. Yes, I arranged for Naboth to be falsely accused and executed. It was ruthless, but from my perspective, it was a necessary act to uphold the power and prestige of the monarchy, which Elijah and his followers were trying so desperately to undermine. My husband, the king, had to be seen as absolute. Years passed. Ahab died a warrior's death in battle, a fate your prophets had gleefully predicted. My sons, Ahaziah and Joram, reigned after him. I remained as queen mother, a position of immense influence. I continued to guide the kingdom, to maintain the Phoenician alliance, to promote the worship of Baal and Asherah alongside that of Yahweh. I believed the kingdom could embrace more than one truth, but the seeds of fanaticism that Elijah had sown had taken deep root. Elisha, his successor, anointed a new king in secret, a brash army commander named Jehu. He was their instrument of holy war. Jehu's rebellion was not a political overthrow. It was a bloody religious purge. He rode to Jezreel, his mission to exterminate the entire house of Ahab, to wipe my family, my legacy, from the face of the earth. When the watchman announced Jehu's furious approach, I knew my time had come. My son, King Joram, rode out to meet him, hopeful for peace, and was struck down by Jehu's own arrow. I heard the commotion from my window in the palace. There was no escape. Panic and fear were all around me. But I would not give them the satisfaction of seeing me cower. I was a queen. I was the daughter of a king. I would meet my end with the dignity of my station. I called for my attendants. I had them paint my eyes with kohl and arrange my hair. I adorned myself in my royal finery. This was not an act of seduction, as my enemies later claimed. It was an act of defiance. It was my armor. I would not be dragged out like a common criminal. I would face my executioner as Jezebel, queen of Israel. I stood at the window and looked down as Jehu's chariot thundered into the courtyard. I saw the bloodlust in his eyes. I called out to him, my last act of defiance, my final condemnation of the traitor who had murdered his king. Did Zimri have peace, who murdered his master? I reminded him of the fate of another usurper. He looked up, his face a mask of fury, and shouted to the eunuchs standing with me, "Throw her down." And my own servants, my attendants, in their terror betrayed me. They seized me. For a moment, I saw the sky, the city I had helped build, the kingdom I had tried to shape. Then I was falling. The rest is the stuff of prophecy and horror. The dogs, the gnawed bones, the fulfillment of Elijah's grisly curse. They made sure my end was as monstrous as the caricature they had created of me. So, this is my story. Not of a demon queen, but of a foreign princess caught between two worlds, two faiths, two conceptions of power. Was I ruthless? Yes. Was I ambitious? Absolutely. But I acted in accordance with my own culture, my own faith, and my own understanding of what it meant to be a queen. I fought for my gods, for my family, and for a vision of a kingdom that your prophets could never accept. They needed a villain, a scapegoat for the nation's troubles, and I, the foreign woman with foreign gods, was the perfect target. Remember the woman behind the legend, the queen who dared to challenge a jealous god and paid the ultimate price. My legacy was written by my enemies. But in my own words, I was simply a queen, fighting for my world in a kingdom that was determined to destroy it.